What's going on, guys? This is Mitch from Dumb Money Day Trading. I just want to give you a weekly recap. So this week we had a shortened trade week because it was July 4th, and so July 3rd was a U.S. holiday. So all the U.S. markets were closed. So we didn't trade on Friday there. And then we had July 1st, which was a Canadian holiday. So generally during holidays, everything is a little bit more choppy. So this week I brought in trade profits of about $1,600 Canadian over the 4 trading days. It was a little bit more difficult trading this week just because of so many holidays, so traders were trading a little bit differently. But let me take you through this week's biggest movers. So on Monday, I traded a stock called with a ticker BHTG, and I'm just going to play back here what I saw. And so over here you see on the charts, we see BHTG pushing above its previous highs here, and we already drew in these orange support lines and resistance lines at the beginning of the day, so we know where to sell, where to buy, and so we can plan out all of our moves accordingly. I'm just going to click play here, and so I saw BHTG start to break this resistance here. We saw a false breakout, but essentially what I did is I bought in about 500 shares of this, and I had a cost basis of $3.31 here, and I bought it throughout the day as whenever it broke the resistance. I caught this break here, I caught this break here down at the VWAP, and then we continue seeing it push up, and then we see my profit margin on BHT here on the close of $7.50, and as it continues to push up, what I did was I continued to sell into the next highs and rebuy and whatnot. And so we see here it's starting to break, it falls down, a little bit of rejection here, but we see buyers start flooding in, and then eventually, I'm just going to fast forward a bit, we see the stock start pushing up to its next highs, and as it starts pushing up, so I started looking at other stocks during this time, but I still have a position in BTH, 500 shares. It's pushing up, falls back down. It holds this resistance here, and it continues to push up throughout the day. And then we see this massive push up right here as it touches this other line of resistance. So so during the course we talk about drawing in supports and resistances, and when you become really good at drawing these in, you can almost predict where the stock is going to reverse, where the stock is going to push up and find resistance or hit a ceiling, right? And we see this here multiple times, and we're going to see this here again coming up. And so that's actually how you will be able to trade profitably, is because you're going to start understanding that when you're trading, you're pretty much trading off of other investors' behaviors, right? You want to predict other investors' behaviors, and you want to act accordingly. And so we see BHTG start pushing up here, a lot of volume coming in here down at the bottom here. We talk about all of this stuff and all these strategies that we use during the lectures, and so I'm just going to run through everything really quickly here. And as it starts pushing up, I start taking profit, and in the meantime, I'm taking a look at other opportunities, right? And so we're not always focused on one stock. It's always going to be one stock, then the next, and the next, and the next, because we're always looking for that next opportunity, right? Touch this line and bounce back, and that's what we're going to be seeing when we learn to draw supports and resistances here. Finally pushes through. I'm just going to fast forward here, and I'm just talking to all my subscribers here. You see my mouse pointing around and talking about it there, so that all my subscribers know what to do and at certain points of time. And so we see a very big push on this stock here, and then eventually we see the reversal, right? It had trouble breaking this ceiling here. We see the rejection, some consolidation here, and eventually pushed right through there, and it continued to push right up, right? And so we see that here, consolidation, push right up, and it continues to move up throughout the morning there, which is awesome. And all this is pre-market. It's not even 9:30 in the morning yet, and we're just killing it with BH. And so it pushes. We see a long tail of rejection, and so as it pushes and it falls back down, I start taking profits, right? And so right now I've closed about $250 of profit on BH, and I closed out all of my open shares, right? So I'm no longer in here. I see a double tail here reversal, and so I'm just like, okay, BHTG is done for the day, and I'm done for now until the stock starts showing strength, right? And so I pretty much made about $250 off of, I'm just showing you guys here, off of this stock here in probably within a 10-minute time span, and all that is due to accurately predicting and assessing the strength of each stock and determining traders' behavior, right? And so that was Monday. Monday we made a good amount of money. So this was our biggest mover on Monday here, BHTG. We made all this before the market opened at 9:30. You can see here on my closed position. And so let's move on to Tuesday. So let's close this out. Tuesday is the 30th. So on Tuesday, we traded a stock called CARV, C-A-R-V. And so I started noticing CARV move up. So we watch stocks during the day, and when it starts moving, we get interested. And so haven't really done anything yet, but we see here CARV broke its pre-market highs here. So these are orange lines, once again, supports and resistances here. And it's starting to push up. And so once again, all eyes on this stock here as it starts to move. And so right now you can see the price point. It's about $11.20. Its pre-market highs were down here about $9.43, and it's starting to push up. And so at this point, I start getting interested in CARV. You can see me putting in my orders over here on my Quest trade. And so I just bought 100 shares of CARV. You can see here at $11.75 as it broke this previous resistance, and it's pushing up. I anticipated to break this mark up here, which is like $12.17 or whatnot. You can see my mouse as I'm talking to my live subscribers there. And so as CARV continues to break ceilings and resistances, I add to my position. And so one of the strategies we talk about in the lectures, you want to add to your winners, right, rather than add to your losers. So a lot of times what people do is they average down, and you're just buying more of a losing stock, which means you're losing more and more money, and that's not what you want to do, right? Especially if you're day trading. You want to hit that nice 5, 10, 15% every single day. Day trading is now becoming your bread and butter. It pays your bills. And you don't want to be accumulating losers, right? And when that happens, we call those people bag holders, because they're just holding bags and bags of worthless stock. And so as CARV starts pushing up, I start making my orders, getting ready to buy in at new higher levels, right? So I buy high, but I sell even higher, and that's how you make money day trading. And so you see here CARV. So far I have 100 shares. I'm waiting to buy right here. I got my order set, my limit order. It's pre-market right now, so everything is limit. And boom, I just bought. As soon as it's going to pass this line here, I'm going to look to buy. And so I always have multiple order screens up. One is a conservative amount. One is going to be a very aggressive amount. So if it falls below a certain number, I take profit. If it pushes above a certain number, I add to my position. And we see here CARV pushing past this resistance line here, and I'm going to start adding to my position. And so here you can see I only have 100 shares of CARV right now, because I want the stock to prove to me that it is strong. And so we talk about huge volume start coming in, spikes, and we see CARV start moving up throughout the day, throughout the morning actually, and I slowly, as you can see here, it pushes up. It's now at $13, $12.93, and these are level 2s, right? So this is something I talk about in the course as well. Having level 2s up and understanding how to read your level 2s is going to be very, very important. Also, I added another 100 shares to CARV here, right? So before I had 100 shares, now I have 200 shares. It's continuing to push up, and so as the stock shows strength, I'm going to hold it and ride it, right? So it was $12, now it's $13.39. And I'm just going to fast forward here. It continues to push up. I always have multiple stocks up, so we can look at the next opportunity, right? There's always the next one, so you don't have to be worried about missing a trade. But I always do call out the trades before I enter. I always call out the trades before I exit. So the people that watch me live, all my subscribers that trade with me daily, they know exactly what I'm about to do and when I'm going to do it, so that they can follow me, right? And then we see CARV continuing pushing up, showing strength, and then we see a flush, we see a little candle of rejection here. And so on Carve, I take 100 shares off the table, made $225 off that really quickly, still holding 100 shares of Carve, as I think it's going to bounce off here, which it does, right? And it recovers to its previous highs. And then on the flush back down, when it fails to hold its previous highs, I sell and I take my profit, right? Because there's no point leaving money on the table. We don't know how far this is going to flush back down. So the minute it shows strength, you take your money off the table. It's a good amount of money for a small trade, right? So we were in this trade probably for about 10-15 minutes, and in that 10-15 minutes, let me see what we wrapped up here. Made a total, as you can see here, of almost $400, right, in that trade. So in 10-15 minutes, we made $390 USD, which is pretty much like $400 Canadian, 15 minutes using these strategies. So that was Tuesday. Pretty cool. Made a really nice haul on Carve. And as you can see, I'm not trading with big position size. I'm not trading with a massive portfolio. Carve is $11 stock. I had 200 shares of Carve, right? So $11 times 100 is like 1100, right? And I had 200 shares, so that's 2200. And so my portfolio size is 2200 of what I invested in Carve, but on $2200 I made $400, right? Which is pretty much a 20% return over a 15-minute period, which is amazing. So these strategies are super effective for small portfolios. I'm just demonstrating that here for you guys. And so that was Tuesday. Tuesday was awesome. And then so Monday, not Monday, the first was Canada Day, right? So Canada Day, everything was really choppy, but we found a really good stock. Where is it? Right here, QLGN. So we see QLGN. We've been watching it from the morning. Right now, it looks like it's about almost 9 o'clock. QLGN pushed up really high in the morning pre-market, riding above the VWAP, holding above this resistance line here. We see it push past this resistance line here, and we see a big candle of rejection here. So right now, we want the stock to show us strength, and we're going to let the stock show us this strength. And until the stock proves itself to us, we are not going to buy it, because why would we even take that risk, right? Prove yourself to me, then I will invest in you, right? Same with everything. And so we're waiting for QLGN to pump. And so I'm just going to fast forward here. We see some consolidation along this line of the support line here and above the VWAP, which is something I like to see. It's showing strength. And so the minute QL starts showing strength, I start adding to my position, right? And you see right here, oh, there's a different stock I'm looking at. Let me fast forward a bit. QLGN, it starts spiking up. It pushed above this kind of median resistance point, and that's when I bought it. And you can see here, I just bought 250 shares of QLGN for $6.15, and that's kind of right around this mark here. So I pushed past that, bought in, and then I want it right now to break this resistance. And if it does, I'm going to add more shares, because hey, it is showing strength. It's pushing above its previous highs, and that's what I like to see. So it's continuing to push up. I have my order ready to buy another 250 shares, and if it pushes up past this point here, I'm going to hop in, because I want to make that money as it pumps, right? And so I'm waiting. I have my hand on the buy. You see my mouse cursor here, just waiting on the buy button. And then when it passes and it shows strength, I'm going to buy. I'm watching my level 2s, eyes on it like a hawk. I see number of shares bought and sold at what price. It hasn't passed this point yet, so I am not buying, right? We see some rejection here as it approaches its pre-market highs, and so we're just waiting. We're waiting. We see the price moving back and forth. We see bidders and sellers, bidders and asks pop in, and then so we're just waiting. We're just waiting. We're still waiting, right? And so QL is here. Some more rejection, some more consolidation, and so we're waiting for it to show us some strength. And then right there, actually, as it finds support and bounces back up, I bought another 250 shares at $6.25 in anticipation of breaking this previous high. And we see a break here, this candle wick here, and a small rejection, but we see a lot of bullish strength coming in, volume coming in, and so we know strength is coming. And so we can always predict that the stock is about to go up, and we want to get in before that point. So all this stuff, all these strategies you need to learn from the lecture series before you trade with me live, right? That way you can understand what I'm doing. You're going to be faster at reacting. And so I'm going to fast forward here during the consolidation phase. And then we see some rejection here. We see it hold above the VWAP. So the VWAP is something we talk about quite a bit. I'm going to fast forward here. I like to see it hold the VWAP, right? Bouncing around the VWAP, consolidating. So it's still in line with our hypothesis. So we are holding that. And so right here we see it start showing some more strength, consolidation between the VWAP and this last line of resistance here. And now we see it start slowly popping up. And then we see it start pumping, volume coming in, and we are in with 500 shares. And once again, guys, remember, 500 shares of a $600 stock, it's like around $3,000, right? And so I'm invested in this stock for $3,000. And so this strategy that I'm playing really doesn't require a lot of money, and you'll see my returns here as the stock pushes up. So QL is pushing up, and we're just riding it, right? And we're just taking profits along the way. Every time it hits a new high, we take some profit. Every time it hits a new high, we take some profit. So I took a few shares off the table here. It made $7.50, but it's okay. So I'm keep on pushing. The stock is pushing. As the stock pushes, I buy in, I exit, I buy in, I exit. And so you see my profit margin here rising from $7 to $61, and then eventually we see a big show of strength, right? This nice pump here, and we're in here. We now have $100 of profit. We see a big push, some rejection coming off here, and so we went from $100 to $193 of profit, and then $180 of profit. And so essentially what we're doing is we're buying in, selling, buying in and selling, right? Buy high, sell even higher. And that's what we do for the entire portion of this trade. And so eventually we get a reversal here, and then at this point we know the stock is done for the day. This is a huge reversal. No point staying invested in this. Made $170 off this trade over I guess from when we started it was probably down here. So that was from 9:15, and the time now it looks like it's about 9:40. And so between 9:15 and 9:40, it's about 25 minutes that we were invested, but we made almost like $200, right, on this trade. So in about 25 minutes, we made about $200. So $170 USD, which works out to be about $220 Canadian. And so this was the biggest mover for the morning on Canada Day, which was crazy because usually on holidays the market moves a lot slower. And so Canada Day was a choppy day of trading, and we're going to move on to now Thursday, which is the last trading day of the week. And on Thursday we found a stock, Fran, F-R-A-N. Let me just fast forward to that point there. So Fran here, we see it on this screen here. We see a nice pump pre-market. We see some consolidation. I'm not in the stock yet, right? There's no positions here. And then what I'm looking for is Fran to show us some strength. Pre-market highs at this line here. We already drew in our supports and resistances for the day, and now we're watching it. We want it to prove itself to us as usual, right? So every single morning we do the same thing, same system, same strategy, because we're running this as a business. So it should be the same every single day, and that way you can have sustainable and consistent returns. And so here we see Fran start pushing up. I want to see it break its pre-market highs, right? That's what I want to see before I hop in, and there we go. So the minute it broke its pre-market highs, I hopped in, bought 100 shares of Fran for $7.53. So as you can see here, I'm only invested $753 in this stock, right? And so now I'm going to start riding it up. We see a wick of rejection here, so we want to be a little bit careful. But if it shows strength, we're not going to be shy about it, right? We see some rejection. We see rejection at the bottom, rejection at the top. We're only in with 100 shares right now. And so as it touches here, 200-day moving average, I average in some more because this was a previous support. So if it holds this support, it's a show of strength, and I'm going to feel more confident. Read some news here about the stock, understand why the stock is moving. So we want to find different catalysts of why traders are picking this stock to trade. We see it bounce off the support level here, which is why I added, right? Show of strength, add shares. And then what we're looking for now is we're looking for volume to come into the stock and blast it up, and we're going to ride it all the way up there. And so in this next sequence here, I drew in an ascending support line. So as long as the stock is holding this ascending support line, it is moving according to trend. VWAP is here, other resistances and supports along the way, and so the stock is in trend and it is doing what we expected it to do. So even though it doesn't move right away, it's okay because it is still acting according to what we want. And then we see a massive push there, and so I'm just riding 200 shares of Fran right now as it pushes. And so as with everything, I take some profit off the table here and there. So you see I went from 200 shares down to 150 shares, book some profit, right? $23. As it pushes up to its previous highs, I take more profit. And it goes higher, I add, right? So I went from 150 shares to 200 shares to 250 shares, right? Add to your winners. That's something I advocate about to my traders. Don't be shy when a stock is showing strength, take it. And then it showed a little bit of weakness, so I sold some shares. So I went from $23 to $31, right? Made $7 in a couple minutes. Pretty good. Not too shy about that. So I'm still in with 200 shares. I want to ride this higher. I want to see it hit this resistance up here that we already drew. So we see it start pushing up. It's still continuing to push, and then eventually it gets to this line here. We knew we would get to here because we drew this in pre-market. We knew what traders are going to do. Rebought in, right? So now I'm back to 250 shares as it shows more strength. And so at this line here, we can expect that there's going to be some rejection. And so as you can see, I went from 200 shares to 250 shares to 150 shares. So I took more profit off the table. I went from $23 to $30 to $84 of profit now. And I still have 150 shares in Fran. And so we push up, we finally break this resistance. I add some more shares here. I sold 50 shares here of Fran, right? So I went from $81 now to up to $100 of profit. Sold another 50 shares, so I'm back to 110. And then finally, so I keep on adding and selling every time it shows strength. And so on Fran, I'm up to $115 in profit, right? 150 shares. Now we see this big flush here, so I sell some shares in Fran. I'm all out, so I made $103 on Fran on this push. Just gonna rewind here. So the minute it flushes down, double candle rejection, and then it flushes, and then I sell the rest of my position because it is now showing weakness, right? No need to hold shares of a weak stock. That's pretty much it. So on this short trading week, we traded for 4 days. I made $1,600 in profit. On the week, trading very small position sizes, as you can see. So generally every day I'm invested anywhere between $1,000 and maybe $3,000. But I made $1,600, right? Which is like a 50% return on the week, which is amazing. And so this type of trade style works really well with small portfolios. And so that's pretty much it. That's my trading recap for the week. Hope you guys had a great short week. We're going to be back at it on Monday. I hope you guys join us. Check out www.dumbmoney.ca/trading to find out more about the course and our monthly subscription. That's it for now. This is Mitch from Dumb Money Day Trading. See you next week. Have a good one, guys. Take care.